Make them say, na 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 na, na 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 na. From music to basketball to professional wrestling, very few people have had a career like Master P. Let's rewind to the 90s. If you grew up in the 90s, you remember all of us had our CD cases, right? You remember the CD cases that'll hold 100 CDs. Maybe you'd put them in alphabetical order, or you put them in, I don't know, color order, whatever the case was. Our CD case back then was our Spotify shuffle, was our Pandora, was our Tidal. Each CD cost about $10, $15 at times. We had to physically get out of our chair, get dressed, hop in a car, go to the mall, sift through CDs, and actually buy physical CDs back then. We didn't have music at our fingertips like you kids do now, like we do now, which is awesome. But it says something when someone is willing to leave their house, drive 20 minutes to the mall, get out of their car, and go spend $15.99 for a CD as opposed to just streaming it. It's something different. But I will tell you, if there were, in the 90s, if there were 100 CDs in my CD case at a certain period of time, 50 of those were from No Limit Records. I know I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one. My CD player was full of No Limit Records because Master P and No Limit were releasing music. I mean, sometimes 3, 4, 5 artists a week, no BS. And when they were at the top of their game, I needed everything No Limit. I needed everything Master P. This is before Cash Money. I wasn't even a big Cash Money fan. It was all about No Limit and Master P. And what I loved about Master P the most is the production that came out of the camp. The beats were always banging, like super banging. And the production was never quite 100%. It seemed like Master P was one of those guys who, he didn't like to do a lot of editing at the end. You know, hey, record your verse, put some ad-libs. Oh, the ad-lib is a little off. Don't even, just leave it. We got to release this. Hey, if you want, we got to release this by Tuesday. Just let it be. And you could hear kind of the rawness in Master P and No Limit CDs back then. He didn't care about production and how clear it was and how beautiful the sound is and how you should hear every instrument like, say, a DJ Quick. Master P in that camp, No Limit, they just dropped it. And for the most part, it was banging. Sometime the levels were off. Sometime the music overpowered the vocals. Sometime the vocals were louder than the music. But that's what I loved about No Limit Records. It was such a great and fun time in hip hop. When they were at their peak, I was probably just exiting high school. I'd say 95, 96, 97 is when they were really at their peak, selling millions and millions and millions, which ended up making Master P worth something like $200 million. He was one of the Forbes richest musicians like every year. There was a time where his name was on there every single year, and it was an inspiration. Here's this guy from the hood, grimy, and you knew he was grimy by the music, but he made it. He somehow walked into the offices, knocked on the white man's door, and made it. Being as grimy as he is, from New Orleans, which is, at that point, was the murder capital of the country. I mean, it was going down in New Orleans. It still is, don't get me wrong. It's still in the top 10, usually in the top 10. But back in the 90s, it was going down.
I gotta give y'all credit. Y'all going out and creating films and creating your own parts and actually making your way.
Well, I think that's what young people have to do today, and don't think that you got to sit around and wait on somebody, take advantage of a situation, and that's what No Limit is all about, you know. And gotta stop thinking that, you know what, thinking so small and so local that you just representing the hood and the turf. You gotta represent the world. No Limit, Master P. We represent the West, East, South. No, it don't matter. Just be body and ride.
Let's talk about Master P and No Limit and how he became to be one of the biggest moguls in rap history. Before we do that, I'm going to ask you guys to hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear. And if you're feeling a little generous, there is a dollar symbol right below the chat. You could drop your boy a few bucks, help keep this train going. I do appreciate it. But Master P, man, Master P, New Orleans, Louisiana. One of the GOATs. I never liked his rapping. I can't even lie. Never was a big fan of his rapping. I enjoyed the whole package, if that makes sense. Just the look, the feel, the tanks, the gold chains. I mean, they were, aside from Death Row Records, they were one of the first labels to, give their artists a gold chain, those No Limit pendants. And we had those, they had those at the Compton swap meet. They had those at the Norwalk swap meet out here. You had people on the West Coast rocking No Limit chains. They were fake as fuck, but people were rocking No Limit chains back then. I remember like it was yesterday. I might have even got a No Limit chain. Nah, I don't think I was that fanned out. But I did buy the music. I bought the music. I would literally go to Warehouse, go to Sam Goody or whatever, and buy the music. Some of my favorite artists on No Limit. I really enjoyed Mystical. Mystical, just his style alone. When I first heard Mystical, one of my best friend's brothers went to Grambling University and he brought back this tape with this guy rapping like nothing I've ever heard in my life. And that person was Mystical. And this was even before Mystical was with No Limit. I knew about Mystical before he was even with No Limit. I think he was with Big Boy or something like that, Records. I can't remember. There was another label that was bubbling in New Orleans back then. But Mystical was one that caught my ear right away. When he joined No Limit and those beats and just, to this day, aside from everything that Mystical has been accused of and probably did and is spending time in jail for and things like that, great rapper. Great rapper. Another one of my favorites was Soulja Slim, R.I.P. Soulja Slim. Me and my brother played that Soulja Slim tape until the damn tape popped. You know when Biggie says, let the tape rock till my tape pop? My tape popped because we played that tape so much. Love Soulja Slim. And by all accounts, he was one of the realest ones. He was one of the realest ones out in the street. And a lot of the lyrics that he talked about, people said he lived up to him.
Yeah. What's up? Now what you about to see is how I do it, you understand what I'm saying? Magnolia bounce, Soulja Slim to the bone. It don't stop. Who's the realest? Me and my dog Cedar. You understand what I'm saying? No Limit. We's the realest, you understand what I'm saying?
He lost his life early in the mean streets of New Orleans, but he did leave us some good music, and it's music that I bump to this day.
You have any suggestions or any advice for maybe some young impressionable cats out there? Let them know that that's real in there.
Yeah, don't get involved in the foolishness, Lil. I'm trying to tell you what's happening right now. You get involved in foolishness, you might go through that thing you can't handle. I ain't gonna take you no word lie, you know what I'm saying? Don't get involved with the foolishness. Lay there.
My all-time favorite, No Limit artist. And you guys are going to trip on this. You guys are going to be like, you're tripping, Dusty Vision. Really? This one, dog? This one? You like this guy? My favorite No Limit artist of all time, to this day, I still play him, was Silk the Shocker.
Hell no!
That's right. Silk the Shocker. See, pocket full of dollars already stacked, so I'm gangsta leaning sideways. Today ain't Friday, today is, but today it's my day. Take it from Mr. Hunter Spoke Rider. Cadillac Suburban driver, see diver, Mr. Glock inside when I'm riding, flossing down the block, holla my boys up in the third, got the latest word, swerve to the side of the curb, Enid wanted me to serve, I say, bitch, can't you tell I'm off, but I still give you $5 to wipe my white walls, and I first step off the block, drop the top, cause it was hot, hit the spot with the most hoes at the side show, about the plot, hitting donuts, and you know I'm acting a straight up menace, catch me spinning, you could tell I was there, cause I left a cloud of smoke, when I'm finished, I see 5-0, and man, they try to sweat me, thinking nice, but now I got 185 in the hood, they know they can't catch me. So if you see me chilling, you can stop me, but I keep that Glock 40 up on my dash, finna how not. Man, come on, dog. Silk was hard. People gave him shit because he was, quote, rapping off beat at times, and that was what I was talking about, going back to that raw sound that No Limit had back then. It was just raw. You were a little off beat, Silk, fuck it, that shit sound cool. Keep it. Many would say, including me, Silk the Shocker birthed a lot of these rappers who do that offbeat type of rapping right now. The Blue Faces of the world. First of all, I don't care for that offbeat. Today, I don't like it. It's just different to me. Back then, if Silk went off beat for a quick second, it was just, he bounced right back on. But these motherfuckers are rapping off beat for the whole song. Now, I don't dig that, but it's big, and I'm out of the target demo, so who cares what I say, right? No one gives a damn what old-ass, damn near 50-year-old Dusty Vision thinks about today's music. That's what I'm talking about, yesteryear's music. Silk the Shocker, he would go off beat just for a bit, but he jumped right back on that shit, and that shit was smooth as hell, man. And any No Limit, and when I say every, like when a No Limit album was released, I would turn it around and I would look to see if Silk the Shocker was on it. And if Silk the Shocker was even on one song, I don't care who the artist was, Big Ed, I don't care who it was. If Silk the Shocker was on one song, I'm buying the album. That was my catalyst for buying No Limit albums. If Silk the Shocker was on that album, even if it's just one verse out of the whole album, and I don't like 90% of the album, I just like that one or two songs, I would still buy it. Hence how I ended up with like 50 No Limit record CDs in my CD case at one time. In fact, I remember looking at a billboard, when you used to go buy CDs, and you right at face level, it was the Billboard Top 100. And I just remember going down that top 100 and counting over a dozen artists from No Limit Records that was on the top 100 at that time. There was nothing like it. I don't think there'll ever be anything like it. I don't think any other record label has been able to do that. Of course, Cash Money has come close, and Cash Money has surpassed what Master P has done. Let's just keep it 1,000. But they did it with basically three artists: Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj. Master P did it a different way. But not even Cash Money has ever had a dozen artists of their own artists on one billboard. Yes, Drake sells a gazillion records. Yes, Nicki has sold a gazillion, and so has Lil Wayne. But it was different with No Limit. It was different. It was so cool to see it. And as an up-and-coming person who wanted to be in music at that time, I remember thinking to myself, if they could do it, I could do it. So I started to study everything Master P, everything. Where did he come from? How did he get to where he is? And I found out in my journeys that a lot of his beginnings were in Northern California, which makes a lot of sense because he loves that West Coast bass. Like, you could tell he had a lot of West Coast influence. But Master P owned a record shop in Richmond, California called No Limit Records. And what Master P would do is Master P would sell his CDs, right? Just like anybody else, but he would revamp the album to add more bass to it. So if it was an NWA album, it was an NWA album, but the bass was 2 times harder. He took it into the studio and did stuff to make the bass harder. So people wanted to buy tapes from No Limit Records because they knew it would sound crazy hard in their car, their sounds. And back then, it was all about sounds, guys. I don't know if it's still that way. I don't hear too many people because, the cops, they pulled everybody over. There was a time where I got pulled over, probably not even exaggerating, 15 times a month. Just sad sounds and big-ass rims and just stupid N-word shit, but that was what I used to do, back in the day. And no album sounded better in your car with your 212s in your back or your 16s and your tweeters in the front. You got your amp and all. Nothing sounded better than a No Limit. I'm talking beating down the block. You knew when a No Limit album was coming. But that was Master P's beginnings, was Richmond, California. He took that money and whatever other money he was making in the street, and he started No Limit Records. And like I said earlier, no one in the music industry that I could think of, and I've been following the music industry since I was for at least the past 20 years, no one I could think of has had a career like Master P. Dude, Master P played professional basketball, dog. I mean, he was apparently, according, and we see it, we saw it, history proves itself. But P was always a good basketball player. By all accounts, he was a baller. He was a great basketball player. And I do believe that is one of the first things that he wanted to pursue, as a child, as a youngster, and things like that, was basketball. So keep in mind, P is not only just sold millions and millions of records. Now he's like, man, I want to play professional basketball. And I remember laughing it off. I remember everybody laughed it off. Oh, Master P, man, you crazy, dog. You about to play basketball? Man, sit your ass down. And Master P made it to the league. And he played for a short period of time. Very few artists other than Master P, and I've been studying the game for at least the past 20 years, very few artists have stepped into a professional wrestling ring like Master P and No Limit. They were so big at a time, guys, that they were on WCW wrestling. I know a lot of you know what's WCW. All you know is WWE right now, right? Well, WCW was huge in the 90s until Vince McMahon from WWE ended up, just knocking them out. But they were big back in the day, and No Limit Records. It's just so funny even saying it right now. No Limit Records, they were wrestlers, and you had Silk the Shocker in the ring, and you had a couple other people in the ring, and they were with Dennis Rodman was part of it. It was a weird time. But if you ever have time to kill and you want to go on YouTube and just have a laugh, type in No Limit WCW Wrestling and just go down that rabbit hole. But man, they were on TV. That was another way. Like, Master P was a brilliant marketer, dog. He was a brilliant marketer. He knew the power of marketing. And what better marketing, especially target marketing white folks who buy albums, than to get on to WCW Wrestling. Oh, man, I'll never forget that, dude. So crazy. So crazy. But Master P, man, first time I guess I ever heard of Master P personally was Mr. Ice Cream Man. Now, Mr. Ice Cream Man was a dope ass song with a banging ass beat and a banging ass hook. And I knew the hook at that time because he stole it from my mentor, Alonzo Williams. Now, I didn't know Alonzo Williams at that time, but I knew his song, Turn Off the Lights. And Mr. Ice Cream Man stole that song. And Alonzo didn't realize it until years later when someone pointed it out to him. Because keep in mind, he's probably not listening to... Back in those days, before the internet, like, you didn't know someone was selling 100,000 copies in New Orleans if you're in Los Angeles. You didn't know because it wasn't in Los Angeles. But once word got out there that there's this dude in New Orleans with this song called Ice Cream Man that literally stole the beat for Turn Off the Lights, the hook, everything about Turn Off the Lights from Alonzo Williams and the World Class Wrecking Crew. Alonzo went to collect that money, and to this day, he says he gets nice checks from that song quite often.
I figured I was in California, he was in Louisiana. I wasn't going to hear it, and I never really heard the record on California. Okay, just somebody else. I was doing business with another company in Tennessee, and it was a big record in Tennessee. And they knew the record, they sold it. And I was like, "You got this right here?" "No, I don't." "Check this out." "What?" "No shit." "Oh man, go get my money." And that's basically what it was.
Mr. Ice Cream Man. So that was the first time I ever heard of them, and of Master P, and then you just slowly started to see the rise. And like I said, one thing that really stood out to this, to me specifically, was the beats. And they had their own in-house producers, Beats by the Pound. Now, beats by the pound are the reasons why Master P's beats sounded the way they did. Beats by the pound, also known as the Medicine Men, are the reason why all No Limit artists' beats were banging. It was KLC, Moby Dick, Craig B, Carlos Stevens, DJ Daryl, and O'Delly. Now, unfortunately, they disbanded later, but when they were together, they made magic. And when I say disbanded, they left No Limit. They ended up leaving No Limit and ended up creating their own thing. But man, you know, even C Murder was a dope. He wasn't the best rapper, but there was something about him to where you listen to him and you're like, yeah, this dude's about it. I think this dude's about it. Something tells me this dude's about it. And unfortunately, C is still behind bars right now for a crime he committed that is affiliated with his name. Young Bleed was on No Limit. Young Bleed. Oh, dog, are you kidding me? How you do that there? Name to the nut. How you do that? My nigga said, who that? Make me want to do that. Come on. And get your ass whipped blue black. My nigga, my nerve for shot the curb. Belly Johnny Preserve. Nothing but balls in my word. And I'm mind's bird. Pistol grip pump on my lap at all times. Whatever, my nigga. Cause young nigga still dying. Talking about, huh? Nigga, what? Huh? Give a fuck, nigga, what? Full of that weed. Planted like a policy. Planted in the channel. Napping nigga named Young Bleed Corleone. I mean, dog, come on. Young Bleed was hard. That album was dope, man. I mean, you had Young Bleed. You had Big Ed. Like I mentioned earlier. Cain and Abel. Mr. Servon is another one that doesn't get the props he deserves. I had Mr. Servon on my show a few years back, man. And he gave his experiences on No Limit. Mr. Servon is another one of those guys, man, who I believe he birthed a lot of these new guys who are rapping off beat. Mr. Servon was kind of like Silk the Shocker in the sense he would go off beat just for a quick second, but bounce right back on that bitch. Like he ain't never left. Like he just bounced right, just boom, just bam. You're like, damn. So he was another one that was dope. Sons of Funk. I interviewed Sons of Funk. I had them on my show as well. They sang a lot of stuff, a lot of the hooks that you heard, including one of my favorites. I really miss my homies, even though you're gone away. I know you're in a better place. And I hope to see you soon someday. And then Silk comes in and kills it. He's like, I'm just sitting here days thinking about all the times we had, thinking about the past. Some was good and some was bad. Remember Dante? It was a group of us, just a group of 5. Now 3 dead, 1 in jail. It seems right now I'm the only one alive. To all my soldiers before me, may y'all rest in peace. I mean, come on. Took your soul. Rest of me, wishing I could rewind times like demos. Man, I get a high, nothing sound like memos. Making $1 million bets, making our money stretch like limos. I can't believe I still know this song after 25 years. Even though I smile, but it's sad. But they say gangsters can't cry. So I close my eyes, visualize together, and I suddenly want to smile. Man, dog, your time was up. You ain't never had your child, but he here to remind us that even though you was wrong, I couldn't believe that was true. You was with me forever. You could check my rest in peace tattoo. See? Me and PNC forever, and we riding it, we thugging. Rest in peace to all the ones who made it, and rest in peace to my brother. We gonna miss you. Man, you can't tell me Silk didn't have bars, dog. You couldn't tell me that Silk didn't have bars. But yeah, Sons of Funk were on that song. They were the ones who sang that hook. I mean, Prime Suspects, Gambino Family, Mercedes. They tried Mercedes. I don't know how good Mercedes did, but she was like a Trina. She was like a Lil Kim. She was like the hot chick, right? She was posting her little shorts in front of a Mercedes. Master P also did, and No Limit also did, soundtracks for movies. And not only that, this dude was creating his own movies. I'm Bout It was one of the first hood movies. I'm bout it. Yeah, I'm bout it. And I'm bout it. They were horrible. No disrespect. They sold millions, but they were horrible. I Got the Hookup was a horrible movie, but I still go back and watch it to this day. It wasn't AJ Johnson in that? Homeboy Ezel from Friday, I think, was in I Got the Hookup, which was about cell phones. This was when the cell phone was the big craze, you know what I'm saying? Like early 2000s. Oh my God, man, you got that chirp phone, but you know, these things. So Master P was selling chirp phones and shit, and I Got the Hookup. That was I could watch that and laugh after I smoked 2 joints. I have to smoke 2 joints for that one though. That's a definite. That is a definite. But somebody we can't forget, somebody who I feel doesn't get the props that she deserves, and notice I said she, because she is not only one of the hardest artists, but she is one of she's not only one of the hardest female artists, she is one of the dopest rappers back then, period. I mean, to this day, her bars are still impeccable and still stand the time. But I'm talking about Mia X. Dog. Mia X, homie. Mia X was an amazing MC. And there were times when Mia X was on the, on the song, she would outshine the dudes. Mia X was outshining the guys on the song. And that was another one who I really loved. And if I saw her on the CD or on the back of the CD, on the credits, I'm most likely copping that album. I know Mia X had to shut her career down early due to family issues. I think she had a big death in the family, and it just really messed with her, like that can do to anybody. So, but she's still around. I actually follow her on Instagram. She is very beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. Like, she aged very gracefully. Mia X is really, really beautiful. Follow her, man. Tell her Dusty Vision sent you. But definitely had love for Mia X. Man, so much to talk about with No Limit, right? I mean, their beef with Cash Money. I'm going to have to do a whole show on their beef with Cash Money. I'm going to do a whole show on the Cash Money versus No Limit beef, because that's an hour show in itself. And we'll be here all day talking about the No Limit Cash Money beef. So I'm going to make a note. I'm going to make a gentle note to talk about that in the near future. We had the time when Snoop went over to No Limit Records. That was a huge story in itself. Huge story. I mean, we'll be here forever talking about that. So I'm going to have to make a mental note to talk about that in the near future. Him leaving Suge Knight and, Master P allegedly paying Suge Knight some money, and there were, by both accounts, the Death Row has their side of how the situation went down. Master P has his side of how the situation went down and how Snoop ended up at No Limit. But I'm gonna do a whole show in the near future about that specifically, because I think that deserves a whole show. Today's show, we're just talking about No Limit and Master P in general, and just how much I really, really love them. Oh, how can I forget Fiend? Fiend was one of the dopest artists on No Limit as well. Fiend, to this day, is still making music and is still fire. Homie is still fire. What was also smart about Master P is he knew that there was a big market for the youngsters. He saw Bow Wow out there doing his thing. He saw what groups like The Boys and Another Bad Creation did back in the day. So what does he do? He grooms his son, Lil Romeo, to tackle that market. And next thing you know, Lil Romeo, who was, 10, 11 at that time maybe, was releasing albums that were selling millions. And here is a whole other side to Master P that people forget. Lil Romeo was huge at one point, man. He was in movies. He had his own TV show, or he was in TV shows, all of that. That was a whole other market that Master P tapped into, and so very brilliant, if you ask me. One thing that stood out to me and to other hip-hop heads at the time, specifically with No Limit Records, was their albums. They were one of the first to popularize. I don't know if they were the actual first, but they were the first to popularize the pen and pixel design on album covers. If you look at a No Limit record album cover, it's that design is called pen and pixel. They had the diamonds, maybe some Rottweilers in the background, a big mansion, a big car, and it just all looks almost cartoony, but real. That was something that they rolled with, and that was something that became very popular. And everybody and their mama after that started doing their albums for a couple years period, did their albums just like that, especially people who are from the South. Like all good things, No Limit Records had to come to an end. And they didn't necessarily end per se, but their run on top ended. And look, you're not going to last forever. Master P towards the, let's go late 90s into the 2000s when Cash Money was doing their thing, they were seen as not cool anymore. Instead of that grimy, hardcore look with the baggy camouflage and the do-rags and the gold, the teeth and all that, people wanted to bling, bling. Bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. And here are these guys from the other side of town, Baby and the likes, and they just blew up Cash Money. And people were picking sides. Cash Money, No Limit. Cash Money, No Limit. And Cash Money won. And Cash Money, 24, 27, 28 years, is still around. And they are literally still getting billions of streams every single year. So I got to say, if there's a winner and a loser in this, I think the winner clearly is Cash Money. But you can't take away what Master P and No Limit did. They had the music industry in a chokehold at one point. And Master P did something that no black executive will ever be able to do again, because they saw it and they saw that it worked. Master P didn't want their advance money. Master P said, you can keep your advance money, keep all your cards. I got money, I'm good. Master P came into the game with his own money because he was already selling CDs on the street and tapes on the street, and he was already doing his hustle on the street. So he didn't need their $500,000 advance, which would end up he would have to pay back and all that. So what Master P said is, instead of giving me 20% and giving me that advance, instead of giving me 20 and you keep 80, how about you give me 80, you keep 20. I'll take all the risks. I'll put all my own money into it. Labels are laughing at him. Oh, he's crazy, man. He wants a higher percentage, but he said he's going to cover everything himself. He got all that. He's good. Yeah, let him try it. The music executive's like, yeah, let him try it. Go ahead, let him try it. Yeah. Little did they know that shit worked, and that motherfucker was making money. Yeah, the industry ain't gonna never let a nigga do that again. The industry ain't never gonna let a nigga do what Master P did, and that's exactly why I respect the hell out of him. To this day, he is one of my top 5 music moguls that I respect, that I idolize for music, and I appreciate everything he's done. Thank you, Master P. Thank you, No Limit, for all the good times you gave me and for giving me all those damn tickets. Cops love giving me tickets, and it was always Master P in the motherfucking CD case when I got a ticket. But anyway, man, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Dusty Vision Radio. If you'd like to hear this live, it is every Saturday at 8 p.m. on Dusty Vision TV, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, every live. I just turn the mic on, press record, and just start talking. There's no script. There's no notes. There's no nothing. It's just me talking about my love for hip hop. And I definitely have a lot of love for Master P and No Limit. And I will in the future do a whole show on the No Limit versus Cash Money beef. And I will also do a whole show on Snoop Dogg's transition from Death Row Records to No Limit Records. So please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel, and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. Are you on Rumble? Have you ever heard of the Rumble app? If not, please follow me on Rumble, Dusty Vision Radio on Rumble. Download the Rumble app and check out my show, Dusty Vision Radio on Rumble. It's uncensored because, YouTube doesn't let you get away with everything that you want to get away from. Rumble is a little more free, a little less censorship, and I'll be doing a lot more content over there, and I post content daily on the Rumble app. Are you on Instagram? Follow me on Dusty Vision Radio on Instagram, Dusty Vision Radio on Instagram. And if you're on Facebook, you can follow me, Dusty Vision TV on Facebook, Dusty Vision TV. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you are listening to the sound of my voice. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.